Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is Monday, October 28th. Just want to do a little market wrap up from last week ahead of the market open. Good morning to everybody. Taking a look at Tesla here on the chart. 270.84 up in pre-market. Let's take a look at some of that flow we saw back on Friday. Take a look at that premium there. 2.5 billion total premium. Net premium came in at 67.9 million. Net call premium 75 mil. That was a big day on Tesla. But the big day was Thursday. Look at that premium. We talked about that last week. 3.8 billion. That's a very large day for Tesla. $2 billion day is a big day for Tesla. 1.5 billion is a big day. The 2.5 Friday is a big day, but 3.8 on Friday was a very large day, or pardon me, Thursday. 323 million net premium. Volatility surprisingly was 55% there post earnings and an incredible rally, incredible move that day. If we take a look at the net premium, like some of the flow last week, we can really see that kind of take off Thursday. Boom, big increase, large net call premium. So we look at it through the week here ahead of earnings. I know because of the graph, so much charge there on Thursday, and the net call premium kind of makes everything else look flat. That was through the week, which was not the case. And Tesla's a name we've been talking about. We've been trading. I've been posting about it. We had I had posted about there's going to be a lot of my opinion was a lot of hype, a lot surrounding the Robotaxi event and a classic sell the news scenario, which just provided an opportunity and then further selling down into earnings. And then we got the 20% jump there in the following day, 21, almost 22% intraday move there. So quite a large move. Let's take a look at some of those contracts that came through on Friday at Tesla. Did see some out of the money contracts coming in also for December area. So I wanted to kind of maybe look at some of those. Let's filter out everything that actually expired Friday. Make it that way we can kind of look ahead. I do want to see what expired Friday, but I'd like to see kind of what was beyond there. We can see some 270 calls for this week, 275, 300 for December 20th. And I did see some 340s and 350, or pardon me, 300s, 340s for the December expiry as well. Let me try to pull those up on open interest. Let's take a look like at the 300 for December 20th. Tesla like said up 270. Let's see, 31,000 volume. Oh, I didn't really change a lot there. Down 1,335. But Thursday and Friday saw pretty extensive premium there combined. Nearly about 60 mil in the 300 call for December 20th. So something we'll keep our eyes on there. Could be sellers, could be buyers, combination of both as we evaluate the ask volume and the bid volume very close. And we can see it kind of split there. So buyers and sellers. But that was one of the ones that I noticed for the December expiry. And we'll talk more of those here over the next few days. I'll be putting out some more option flow and things like that. But let's take a look at the open interest update real quick this morning. So instead of posting like the largest increases or decreases in open interest that I like to post, let's just go ahead and do it right here live. Well, not live, but via the video here. I think it'll help everybody. So let me zoom this in a little bit for you. So we had Tesla, make sure we're on the right day. We are October 28th, Halloween this week. I know, exciting. So let's see, our largest gain to the open interest was the $300 calls for this week, the 270 calls for this week. Some puts on there as well. Some of those running multi-legs, so it could be a different strategy there. Here was these 330 calls. So okay, so they did appear in open interest. 330 for December 20th. So there was some activity. See, Friday, 7,889 volume, 6,000 appeared in new OI. Suggested was on the ask side with the volume compared to the bid. So it suggests, a bought to open position. So that's somebody looking for maybe some more continued upside. As I said, this Tesla rally, a lot of people that are way smarter than I am have said this thing might still have some legs on it. So definitely something to keep your eyes on. Let's see, 280, 290s. Definitely some increase in OI, buyers and sellers. So something to always take a look at. Let's see what our largest decrease was there. 240s for February of 2025. But if we look here, see that was running a previous multi 95%. So that was like a multi-leg trade. That was something more of a strategy there. 245s, 260s down a little bit. Not too large or too big of changes there, but some changes there to the open interest. Like I said, with the largest one being the 300 and the 270, seeing the largest increase in OI. But let's take a look at that Tesla daily chart here, real quick. Take a look at some of those moving average levels here where we're at. What a rocket up there. That's incredible. We hit our levels last week, our targets, where we gaps, and we talked about this before, where those gaps and these areas had derived from. So we're looking at here, let me make sure I've turned off regular data here. Now it's just regular trading data, so as if the market's not open yet. It is for pre-market, but just for the chart, just regular data. 9-day EMA at 237.37, the 20-day EMA 234.84, the 50-day at 230.57. Incredible volume Thursday and Friday. Very large candles there. We had the Robotaxi sell off, consolidate into earnings, another touch of low, boom, gap up, and then we're nearing around the July levels here. July 11th high 271. So if we turn on pre-market hours, high 271.60. So we're touching July levels there. So we'll see what happens there. The other thing we were talking about last week is we were talking about MicroStrategy. I know we have a lot of call premium there. So we can see that candle print on Friday. Possible indecision, possible just a little rest before higher, possibly an indecision to go lower as we look at the 9 EMA at 216.61, 20-day at 198.96, the 50-day at 161.11, and 234.34 for the close. See where we're trading, should be up a little bit at 244.90 in pre-market, so with a high 245, so a little bit higher, and 245.57 was the high Friday, 245.25 the high so far pre-market. RSI extended, which can remain that way for some time, depending on the situation, as the stock closely correlates with Bitcoin. They'll continue to, issue shares, essentially equity, debt, or whichever, an instrument of some sort in exchange for raising funds, at which point then accumulate more Bitcoin. So let's take a look at some of the open interest there on MicroStrategy here, and we'll take a look at the flow as well. Just a little something for you different here to update all of it. So biggest jumps today looks like the 260 and the 295 call, the 255 call, 290. Those were all previous multi-legs, so we want to take those with a grain of salt because they more than likely have another side attached to them. So if we look at that, for example, you see the 260 calls for this week. However, you see multi-leg 81%. So possible multi-leg trades. So let's pull that up. And we can do that real easily with Unusual Whales. Click the volume candle. Let's see if we can find the large order. Here it is, 12.6. See the up and down arrows indicate part of a multi-leg. So always make sure if you're using whales or you're following other people's flow, they're like, hey, bullish calls just came in for 260. That may not necessarily be the full story. So that's why we kind of want to use Unusual Whales to dig into the transactions so we can take a look at that. And we can tell when we look at the aggregated volume, this is a multi-leg transaction here. So we see buy 260s, sell 220s from Friday, sell the 250s from Friday, sell the 295s mid. It's hard to say if that was sold or bought when it's a mid fill. Could just have been a change, an exchange essentially. But that was just a particular strategy, and that's kind of identified with the size. Notice each size for each particular contract and the times that came through as like a multi-leg. And whales will kind of help break that down for you. It makes it a little bit easier to start drilling in and kind of backing up and following the flow. Because it's one thing to follow it, but you kind of got to like back up and go into time to kind of see what's happened there. And sometimes the easiest way like to remove that information like that, we could come down here to like previous multi-leg. We can use filtering because it's very granular on Unusual Whales. So say we filter it for just maybe 25% multi-leg, and notice we don't see those same trades up there. So you may not be getting the same picture, but then you can also kind of focus on maybe some other trades that weren't tied to multi-leg. So it just depends how you're doing it when you use Unusual Whales. So that's why I said you can see now as I've taken that filter off a little bit larger, but some with some less multi-leg, 3%. You see 130 puts this week, 195 calls this week, 240 calls. which are in the money, 350. Someone really went out there. Was that about 50K premium? Now 50,000. Somebody bought, looks like 2,000 calls, 350 calls into the close or shortly, about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock Eastern time there. So yeah, 350. Somebody, somebody could just be looking for a spike in premium too, and to sell those off. So let's look at the big changes in open interest. Just minus 2,000 on the 380s for November, but that was part. It looks like part of a multi-leg transaction. Let's see, we can pull that up here. 380s, some ask, some bid, but there is some open interest and it decreased. Contracts could have changed hands there, open and bought. But let's look at some of that flow on MicroStrategy from Friday here. Take a look at some of that premium and how that shaped out over the week, because they have earnings coming up on October 30th. Expected move 8.33%, so plus or minus about 20 bucks. So definitely want to look for that. We look at like the 7-day. We had that rally a week ago on the 18th with some net call premium. And even as net call premium sold off, put premium increased and decreased, price kind of consolidated and then got legs again on Thursday with a big spike in net call premium. Kind of saw some selling, profit taking, and then a spike into the close. And then kind of same with Friday. Friday opened strong, a little decline there in the net call premium, a little bottom out, and then a little refresh in a net call premium into the close on Friday. So we look at the 1 day, about 700 mil premium, 4 mil on the net premium, and about 12.8 net call premium. So that might give some upside coming here. We'll see how that plays out. 700 mil for Friday, and like a comparative day for MicroStrategy, 516 on Thursday, 310 on Wednesday, 238 mil. So you can kind of see comparative to where that was at total premium wise and options. Pretty large day from MicroStrategy. And that could be something that still has some wheels behind it as well. As we look at the daily chart, a little bit higher, but not higher, but still the same push for that Friday high we saw today. And then taking a look at the weekly chart, MicroStrategy's definitely been on a move. We had the first move into 24, push up higher into March as Bitcoin, crypto, some consolidation, a few lows, and a higher highs. So definitely something to keep our eyes on. Let's take a look here. What else we got? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about upcoming earnings this week. Let's see, after hours today, Ford. I'll let you guys just look at them here. See pre-market tomorrow. I know it's some big ones. SoFi, Google, PayPal, JetBlue, BP, McDonald's. Those were some big ones for sure. Phillips 66, HSBC, Crocs. And then tomorrow, Tuesday after hours, AMD, Chipotle, Snap, ENVX, Visa, Reddit. Oh yeah, a lot of big names. A lot of big names. Wednesday, Lilly, Caterpillar, and Microsoft. Wednesday after hours, Meta, MicroStrategy, Hood, Riot, Coin, Starbucks, Etsy, Roku, Dash. All big ones to watch on Wednesday after hours. Thursday, we got Uber, pre-market, Peloton, Merck, Shell, Siri. I know a lot of name on Siri, MasterCard. Thursday after hours, we got Apple, Intel, Amazon. Yeah, big week this week on the earnings, so keep all of that in mind. Friday, probably a light day because nobody really does the earnings on the Friday like that. So just some pre-market there. Fubo, they're all right. Okay, let's take a look here. Let's pull up Coinbase here as well. We'll talk, a lot of talk about that and flow as well. Okay, so a little hit there in the net call premium on Friday. A little increase in the net put premium. Okay. Stock's been moving up and down with Bitcoin as well. Let's look at the last week here. Net call premium. And spike on Thursday, decline on Friday. Price down here around 195, and then Friday back around 212. 143 on the day. It's not a bad day. I mean, kind of light, kind of still strong though. Let's take a look at some of the open interest there. What's going on with coin? And take a peek here. Let's see here. Pull up Coinbase. Take a look here. Let's look at the big changes. Any large increase? 195 put says multi-leg. 172.50 put, 125 put, 40 put in the money, out of the money. 140, 170. So not as much change in OI, not a lot changes on the decreasing side as well. So that's something to always consider also, is just kind of look, not all the time, but it's updated once daily. So I think it should be considered to kind of take a look at it. Coin on the weekly. You got all your EMAs and your SMA kind of converging here together. Very tight there. Just something you always kind of like to see. It usually indicative of something changing, moving, well above the 50-day. And looks like last week fell down on the 9-day EMA, which served as support. 1272, and this is with pre-markets on, so we can turn that off. So still just about hit that 9-day on Friday, which was 203.06 with a low of 203.43. So EMAs, that's kind of what I use on my charts, like a 9, a 20, and then a 50-day. I'll use volume, RSI. I try to keep it simple. I'll use Fibonacci as well. I just try to focus price, volume, and moving averages, like where a stock's been. Sometimes stocks have memory. They move to where they've gone. They'll like to move higher. They move down. They move up. Very responsive to sentiment and news. So let's take a look here also. Let's take a look at some GameStop. And everybody want to look at some GameStop? Absolutely. Let's take a look at the open interest changes on GameStop there. 21 calls and the 22 calls. We did see those. I talked about that. I posted a video or did a live on Friday, and the video is available, and I talked about that spike you saw in the $21 and $22 calls on GameStop. So definitely something to look at what we saw last week and like why that happened, the volume, kind of why they went down, why they went up, the spike in IV and premium. Just if you want to go back and kind of gain understanding. I think I time stamped it around like the 9-minute mark, but the 21, 22s, and 25s were the highest open interest gains on the GameStop calls for this week. Not a lot of decreases to the OI. So sometimes contracts can just change hands as well. So let's take a look at some of that flow there. See what that net premium looked like. That was that spike on Friday. Spike in net call premium, which juiced, and then we saw a lot of selling off some of those calls, some profit taking. Price came down, volume came in, volume came out. Net call premium stayed up. It's about 11 mil on the day, 423 net premium. Not a large day, but not a small day either. Small on the net premium side. A larger day, 13 mil net call premium. You want to get back into like July, May, and June. There was some pretty large days, and I've shared those back on my page before, and you could see that. Some of the highest volume was just the 0DT on Friday, was the 21s and 22s. We'll talk about it just for a second. We can see where maybe it was a Discord, maybe someone tweeted about it, alerted it, got in, and then more volume followed behind it, which spiked the IV, spiked the premium, and then someone sold it. So that could have just been from a Discord group, could have been from a room that called those out. I'm not really sure, but something with lower volume, someone jumped into it real quick, got some more volume behind it, definitely will lift the contracts. So something to always watch out for when you see that. It could be someone alerting to get ready to sell. We've seen that happen before. So just always, practice risk management, do your due diligence, always preserve your capital the best that you can. Let's pull up that chart here real quick. Take a look at GME, because I know it's been pretty tight there price-wise. Tight here on the weekly. And let's take a look at the daily. Again, tight on the daily there. It's just very tight. I mean, if I blow this out a little bit, it may not appear as tight, but we'll see. It seemed pretty tight in this range. Not a lot of movement. It was this kind of green box, just still kind of here. So, but that was the flow there. And then the other one I wanted to take a look at was Netflix as well, post earnings. Sometimes I like to do have earnings, wait 3 days, see what it is. For example, the 17th, we were down right before earnings. 677.88 was the low on Netflix. And then earnings came, high 766. So if we followed the 3-day rule, 1, 2, 3, let's see, would we have still been high? 769.70 was the high. Friday closed at 754. Let me check what it actually is in pre-market. 757. So 3 day rule there. 1, 2, 3, and then buy. If you waited full 3 day, I mean, there's your opportunity. It just depends which way you look at it. Some people do that, some people don't. So Netflix has just been on a tear. I think I pulled this out over a video over the weekend. Yeah, I think it was on the monthly. Just in the 12 years, I think I went back to the. Yeah, because I've been a customer a long time, even with getting the discs in the mail. So I went back to I think just the midpoint of October 2012 till now. 12 years, 7,000% gain on Netflix. Not bad for the longs. Some of these stocks are great to own long term like that. Netflix pretty much dominates the space too. A little insider sell there, 5,000 shares. You might as well get your money, insider, because a lot of these shares are part of the compensation. So of course they're going to sell to make their money. It's like going to work and not wanting your paycheck. So let's take a look at that premium on Friday. Net put premium a little up there as net call premium sold off a little with the excitement of price as it moved down a little bit, but not moved down, just kind of retraced a little bit. I mean, 5 years still 172% on Netflix. 113 mil total premium, negative 5.6 on the net premium. That's just because net call premium down, net put premium up there. Hottest contracts or most volume was the 0DT 760, 765 calls and 755 put, 770 call. Let's take a look at the open interest there real quick on Netflix. Try to not make this too long so you have a chance to watch this maybe before the market opens or right as it's opening. I know sometimes I'm long-winded, but I think sometimes with a video it's just easier for me to get out these thoughts as opposed to a thread, because I know not everybody likes those threads or even maybe doesn't even read all the way through that. So just different formats of information, just trying to do something here that helps everybody out. Plus I enjoy just talking about the stuff and looking at it. Sometimes it's easier just to look, talk, and do a video. Some people like that format. So biggest changes here to OI, plus 2,200, plus 1,700, some multi-leg, plus 1,000 on puts, plus 800 on the 760 calls. So not a lot of big changes there, and not big changes to the decreases as well. One last open interest update we'll take a look at before we wrap this up and let you get about your Monday. With AMC's got earnings coming up, I wanted to take a look at the open interest there. Largest increase, $5 calls for this week, 4,600 new open interest. $5 calls for November 8th, which would be post earnings. And $7 call January of 25. So pull up AMC. Earnings are November 6th, after hours. Expected move, at least right now, in options. So we'll just wait closer to the 6th because the number could change. 11.58%. So up or down 50 cents is what we're looking at there. So top volume Friday, 0DT, except for the $5 calls and the $4.50 calls for this week. I did see those. I think I posted about the 5s and the 4s, or 4.5s and 5s. Some of that volume Friday did appear in new interest, so somebody might be looking for 5 or just to move up in the contracts to sell the difference in premium. And the 4.5s, there was some volume Friday, but not a large increase in OI. So some of those contracts could have certainly just changed hands. Total premium wasn't that much, 36,000. I've seen regular retail traders drop 60,000, GameStop weeklies and AMC weeklies, so 35 is not a whole lot. It is, but it's not sometimes when you're talking comparatively. So yeah, what else do we have here that I wanted to talk about? I think that was it. I just wanted to thank everybody. Also, if you missed it or you're a subscriber, I posted a wrap-up yesterday, so you guys can check that out. 51-minute video. For the subscribers, do appreciate everybody. Happy Monday. Let's have a good week trading. Always manage your risk. Preserve your capital. There's nothing wrong with cash as a position. Always do your own due diligence. Do your own homework. Don't turn in someone else's homework. Seek out a qualified, registered investment advisor, financial advisor, to discuss what's best for you and your portfolio. Anything I say here is just my thoughts, my ideas, my opinion. And we're free to discuss in a community, social context, things we like, things we don't like about a stock or an option or a trade. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching, and let's have a great week. Bye, guys.